The secret to selling my first $1 million in revenue on Amazon. I'm going to kind of share the whole process and my whole journey through my first 12 months of selling. It's now been over 2 years, but I want to go back to the first year of selling on Amazon and how I was able to get to $1 million in revenue. I know it sounds crazy. I thought it was crazy too when I was looking at people's success when I was getting started. It's actually not that crazy. It's not too difficult either, as long as you have the correct foundation and you have the correct goals in mind when going into it. You need realistic expectations. You need to actually know what to focus on. So this video is going to bring clarity to all that. Now, kind of back on that, getting to $1 million revenue isn't too crazy, but the crazy thing is getting to it in the first 12 months, which is exactly what I did. Now, I will say I'm probably ahead of other people when I was starting because I was already selling on eBay. I was doing anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 a month on there. So I kind of had an experience with e-commerce already. But Amazon was still completely new. It was still completely a new market to sell on, new ways to source, do new products. On eBay, I was selling shoes and clothing. Amazon, general merchandise type things. Okay, so the transition was easier for me than other people, but it was still a transition. So real quick, I want to mention this right off the bat. To sell $1 million in product, you need to be spending a bunch of money on inventory. So within that year, minimum of $400,000 was spent on product to get to that $1 million in revenue. Now, obviously, it wasn't just $400,000 all at once. It was spread out within the 12 months. So whether that be $40,000, $35,000 every single month on inventory, obviously each month was different as I was scaling. It wasn't just straight even amount of sales. It was 10K, 30K, 70, 140. So it grew over time as you scaled. So let me mention what you need to focus on when you're getting going with this. You need to have capital, okay? And in order to be willing to invest a lot of money in a product, you need to have proof of concepts. So what I did right off the bat, I was actually working at a private retail store and I knew the owner, we were friends. He actually gave me one of his vendors and we found products in there that looked to be moving on Amazon. So we ordered like 30 of them, sent them in, and we blew through those in a couple days. So I had that initial proof of concept immediately. This allowed me to really commit to learning OA, getting into wholesale, and really transitioning into doing this as like a full-time thing, right? But that's really important in the beginning. You want to get that proof of concept immediately. So whether that be you do what I did, which obviously not everyone's in the same situation, or you just find like some random brand new unopened item in your house, find it on Amazon, send it in and see how fast it sells. That should be enough proof of concept to really get you going because you see that this stuff actually sells, this actually does work, I can actually make this work. And that's exactly what I did, and that's what I think you need to do right off the bat. So I did that my first month. We only sold out one product in my first month. We did $10,000 in revenue just from one product alone, and that really allowed me to, again, get that proof of concept and fully commit to it because I saw the proof. I already made money from it. It was time to go. Now, I didn't just jump in spending $40K on inventory every single month right off the bat. There was a process to it. So in the beginning, all I did was consume Amazon videos like YouTube, podcasts, whatever the case may be. I was consuming all the content I possibly could when it came to Amazon FBA. If I was looking back at it now, I probably would do it a little bit differently. There's also a lot more people to choose from nowadays. Back then, there was only a handful of people to really watch. But rather than getting yourself congested in your head with a bunch of different methods, because there is no right way to do Amazon, there's like 1,000 different methods you could do, and there's no right or wrong way to do it, but you really need to find one person, or at least that you resonate with, that you think you can implement their exact steps and follow them to a T, rather than what I was doing. One guy said go to Brickseek, one guy said to use tactical arbitrage, one guy said to just manually source. So it was all over the place. I had no idea what to do. So it took me a little bit longer in those initial learning phases to really figure out what I wanted to focus on, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I started with Brickseek, didn't work. Used tactical arbitrage. That's how I found my first product for OA. Actually, it was this makeup caddy, which, again, another lesson in here. I sent it in and I ended up only making $1 on it. So there was a bad product, and I really quickly learned that product analysis was just as important as sourcing, if not even more important, but that's going to be discussed a little bit later. But what I was doing was using methods from so many different people when I should have just found one, stuck to that one method, and really figured it out. So it wasn't until I came across reverse sourcing that I really started to click with everything. Now, yes, I was bad at it at first, but that's the one that I really focused on because that was what I was finding the most products with right off the bat. And as I progressed, I got better and better at it to a point where I was able to find products on a daily basis, pretty much on demand, just from this one sourcing method. My whole entire business, all the way to $1 million, my first year was 99% of products from reverse sourcing. Like, I'm dead serious. That is the only thing I did. And that is what I kind of stress to do, especially as a beginner, because that is the easiest and it really gives you that eye for Amazon products that you wouldn't be able to get doing other methods. It at least gets you to that point a lot quicker. So kind of how I mentioned, I tried lots of different sourcing methods when I was originally starting. And it wasn't until I was able to implement reverse sourcing that I really saw success. This was kind of around the third month. And that's when my revenue started to take off, right? Also, when I got more confident was spending more money on inventory. And I had a system built out for myself to where I was able to get to the 6-figure revenue a month mark. And yes, I was working like crazy. I was doing this full time, and I realized that not everyone has the availability to do so. But for me, this is just how I did it. I was working minimum 6 to 8 hours every single day, whether that was spent on sourcing or sending products in. I was hitting my spend goal of $1,500 every single day, so there wouldn't be a single day I wouldn't hit that. I'd usually order the products at nighttime. Everything would come in during the next day. So I got on a routine of prepping my products every single morning, getting shipments coming in around 3 p.m., and then sourcing pretty much the whole night, every single day. This is what I did for 3 to 4 months straight. My cash flow was good. I was getting really good at sourcing, finding products every single day. I was prepping stuff daily, so I was getting everything sent in. So the FBA shipments were nice in order. It didn't matter if stuff took long to check in because I was sending stuff in every single day. So stuff was always getting checked in. Again, everything was going smooth, but I was working like crazy. So if you're in a different situation where you don't have access and you don't have that much time, then you might want to play it a different route, whether that be using a prep center, hiring a VA a lot quicker than I did. There's a lot of different solutions to it. But again, this is just what I did. And I did this again for 4 months straight. And I was pushing out 6 figures in revenue every single month by doing it like this. Cash flow was good. Everything was smooth. And that's how I was able to find success. So as I was sourcing daily, prepping stuff daily, I got really good at sourcing products. My eye for Amazon products got really good. And I was able to learn new methods of sourcing, able to reach out to wholesalers the following months because I looked at thousands of different products, seen thousands of different Keepa charts, and I knew exactly what I needed to find. And you cannot teach someone this. This is just learned from experience. You can teach someone exactly your methods, but you're never going to be able to have that eye until you do it for yourself. So I always want everyone to have realistic expectations. You cannot start Amazon and be a pro at it within 2 weeks. It's impossible. It's not until you build that eye for the products that it becomes easy. And the better and the quicker you can replicate the sourcing methods, the quicker you can get to that point. But either way, it's not going to happen overnight. So now I did mention that I was able to do that much in revenue, but it was not just straight up in euphoria because the products I was buying, again, it was my first year, my margin was bad. I was operating barely at a 10% margin. And at $1 million in revenue, there's a lot of leakage in terms of missing inventory from the retailers I was ordering from, missing inventory getting sent to Amazon. So leakage really plays a part and it really affects your business on a tight margin. So during that whole process, yeah, I was profitable. I was nowhere near as profitable as I needed to be. And again, that all boils back to my product analysis. I was purchasing products that I couldn't sell through as quick, products that were getting too many returns and I wasn't able to move them and I was losing money on. So there's a lot of issues that were boiling down. And again, that whole first year was a learning process of sourcing and analyzing and a ton of time of actually running the business, right? It wasn't until my second year that I really optimized my spend, really optimized the products, operated at a much higher margin, actually noticed a sufficient amount of cash flow coming in. And that's when I was able to really step out of the business and optimize it. It took me a little bit longer to do so than some people, and that's okay. Everyone kind of works at their own pace, but that is just how I was able to sell my first million. Time spent on product sourcing, time spent on prepping, and a lot of mistakes when it came to analysis. But running an Amazon business at $1 million revenue is a full-time thing if you're just doing it on your own, if you're not outsourcing it to other people. If you can take anything away from this video, it's these 3 things. You want to find someone that you resonate with, watch all their videos, soak up the information, and really try and follow in their footsteps. You have to realize that it's going to take a bunch of time. If you're going to do this on your own, it's going to require full-time work. Now, again, this is only if you're really trying to get to that million mark. Not everyone obviously wants to get there. Some people are cool with doing 100K revenue a year, which you can 1000% do part-time with really minimal effort. But this whole video is kind of tailored towards that yearly $1 million mark. That's kind of why I'm mentioning it. And the 2 things you need to be focused on that you actually have to learn is product sourcing and product analysis. Anything else in terms of ungating, prepping, all those random little things that you probably have questions on right off the bat aren't things you have to learn. They're just things you do. So don't focus too much on those. Focus on the 2 things you actually have to learn, sourcing and analysis, and that'll take you way further than anything else you could potentially be working on. Look, if you want someone in your corner, someone to hold your hand and walk you through the whole process of starting your Amazon business from scratch or even scaling it if you're doing anywhere from 10 to 20,000 a month in revenue, you want someone to mentor you, be your coach, I want you to click that Calendly link below, book a time slot, have a chat with me to see what that could potentially look like. This is one-on-one coaching, so spots to my mentorship is limited, and once it's full, I'm going to have to close the enrollment. So if it's something that you're even 25% considering, want to book that time slot. If this video helped you in any way, or at least motivated you to start your Amazon business, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys soon.